Inside the Room, a music show where the music comes first, featuring artists that share their personal stories and experiences from the music scene, with each story meant to inspire and support emerging and up-and-coming musicians. You're listening to Inside the Room podcast.
We are inside the room with Even in Deaf. I'm so excited.
Woohoo!
Woo! Tell us a little bit about the evolution of the band.
Oddly enough, I don't think we have an original member in the band left. There you go. There's the evolution. Actually, the band started a long time ago, and they were a bunch of young guys, but they mostly did. It was kind of a cover band with a few tunes that they wrote originally. Their singer Spencer had they had a record label showcase, and right before the show, like a week or two before the show, he just disappeared and said he wasn't going to do the show. So they asked me to just step in, and they were young. They were all, most of them
Like
weren't
teenagers,
even,
right?
yeah, most of them weren't even 21 yet. So even when I stepped in to help them out, and they're like, hey, can you help out for 3 more gigs? And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to stick around, you guys are going to have to kind of change the evolution of the band. It's going to have to be heavier for one, but it's going to have to be original. So originally they gave me like, I don't know, it was like 20 or 30 songs to learn, and 3 of them were theirs.
Oh, okay.
And next time I'm going to bring that list and I'll read the list out loud, and you will just laugh your ass off because there's some gay stuff in there. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm singing that. Yeah, so it just happened because I knew the guys. I knew all the guys. And so some of the guys were in Rockstar, Riot, and different bands. And I was friends with all these guys, so I was like, you know what? Let's change the direction. I'll step in. They were young. They wanted to rehearse 4 times a week and this and that. And I'm like, no, you're going to concentrate and you're going to learn your stuff, and we'll get together once or twice a week. And then it just kind of took off. So it's kind of interesting because the band got heavier and heavier, and the members in the band started evolving and liking heavier and heavier music. And now here we are, and we play with some of the heaviest bands, but it's interesting because we'll play with a really heavy band, like we played with DRI, but we also
I saw that.
Then we play with Tantric, or one of those bands, the Headshot Boys, Trapped. We play with Trapped. We played with Blue Oyster Cult, but then next time I think our next show is with Riot. So it's kind of all over the place. It's kind of interesting because we're a band that no one ever says, hey, you sound just like. We get references.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I mean, there's definitely some old school thrash in there.
How do you categorize your music?
So the funny thing is, I was asked this when we played Rocklahoma, and that was the first thing I said, can I cuss on your show? And they said yes. So I was like, okay, well, it's Texas fucking metal.
Nice. Okay. I can get behind that. So who are some of you guys' favorite like all-time bands and artists?
It's interesting because all of us are so diverse. Like Anthony Alamon is definitely a punk background. And David McGilfrey, our drummer, he definitely likes those polished bands that are real relevant right now. I know he's real into that. Me, I'm old school. Like I'm an old Judas Priest guy. And it's interesting because I host a podcast about 80s glam and stuff like that. But I was the guy that hated Poison. I was like, Slayer.
Yeah, for sure. You
Yeah.
had to be on one side or the other. You could not do both.
Yeah. And now we're in an age where you can integrate everything. So it used to be you couldn't play you couldn't be in a country band and be friends with a rock guy. And now half the country bands are all rock musicians.
So tell us about a little bit about Rocklahoma. You mentioned Rocklahoma, and then also your podcast.
So we played Rocklahoma, I think it was 2 years ago. And it was cool because we went on around 3:30 on a Saturday, and their numbers tilt towards like 100,000 people there on their Saturdays because that's like the prime day. And we had an amazing show, and I kept running out in the crowd and seeing how far I can go before my microphone cut out. But we got interviewed by a whole bunch of podcasts, and so my friend Chris Price, that owns the All Things Metal Show, he actually called me up and he said, "Look, I'm going through some health issues and this and that. would you be interested in buying out my podcast? So my partner and I, Clark, bought it out. So we are putting out like a 3-hour episode every week, and it was mostly glam and stuff like that, but it is now becoming. I'm starting to creep it in. I'm creeping it already. I mean, I was listening to the last episode. I think it went from like, I don't know. It went from like Motley Crue, and then I played Exodus right after that.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
and also starting to focus on getting a lot of like I like to at least feature 4 unsigned bands every episode
Oh, cool. I didn't know
across
that.
across all over the place. And I'm working with a guy named Chaz Knight out of Dallas who has another podcast that's a big deal. They're trying to recreate like FM radio as a podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
so I go on his show and he comes on my show. And so that's kind of the fun thing is I'm getting on, trying to help out branch all the different podcasts as well as the bands, as well as the music, and just kind of put a bridge there because I don't feel like there's a lot of continuity. Like people don't know. Like here we are in San Antonio, Texas, and nobody knows Nothing More is from here. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know Kingdom Collapse is from here. You know, they don't.
Right.
There's so many things. There's so many. I mean, Upon a Burning Bodies from here. All these bands, and there's not a lot of recognition or like, oh, this has got this going on in San Antonio. So I want to build up San Antonio, but I want to build up Texas completely.
That's a good goal. So who's the best band you've shared a bill with, and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I feel like I have to say Hed PE right now because I toured with them, but I don't know, that Rocklahoma thing was pretty insane to see that big of a crowd of people. And we're in a different state where we'd never played Oklahoma. But now Oklahoma, like they love us. Like we actually go there and stay there for the 4 days. And we go to the campgrounds and we go to all the parties and everybody knows us. And it was kind of interesting because that you go from playing like a small club gig and then next thing you're playing this huge gig and then you're having all these girls asking you to sign this and that and stuff like that. I was like, I didn't even know that was still a thing. It's interesting. It's one thing to try and break out of your own city, but it's also interesting when you can't even break out of your own community. You know, so that's one thing like I'm trying to work with as well as putting in. So like here in San Antonio, we have different areas and we have different cliques. Like, you know, anytime I book an Even and Death show and I'm booking it, I guarantee you there's probably going to be a punk band on there. There's probably going to be a straight up rock and roll band. There might be something strange on there. I don't want to keep the volume going at this rate. You know, I don't want to keep it going constantly at 10. You know, I like to have different stuff. But what I've also noticed is like the art district here in town has got a big music scene and stuff like that. So, you know, I had talked to Anthony Garcia, Jojo Dancer, who's a photographer here, and we've been talking about, okay, maybe we'll throw a show, put some of these bands together and start mixing up the communities here within San Antonio alone. Because I went to a show recently and it was one, you know, it was very eclectic, very artsy kind of rock show. I hadn't heard of any of the bands, but they were great bands, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they overdressed and some of them kind of had a Bowie-esque look. Some of them kind of had this old kind of, I don't know, like punk rocker look, but some of them had this sophisticated kind of art gallery kind of look. I don't know. It's interesting. And right now, like I said, the door is so open for so many different genres. In fact, I had Bobby Jarozombek on my podcast who played drums for Sebastian Bach, Riot. He played for Rob Halford. He's actually, I actually had a video where he's playing drums with Rob Halford singing, Jeff Tate of Queensryche, and Bruce Dickinson, and all of them are just singing all together in front of him. But now he makes his bread and butter playing for George Strait on the weekends and selling out crowds and breaking world records. I mean, because George Strait's like a weekend warrior. So, like, if I go to a country club or something like that, like go to a country bar, like I know almost everybody there, I know all the bandmates, you know. So right now is the perfect time to kind of build it all back together to kind of help everybody out. I did even, and it's the podcast I have is called the All Things Metal Show, but I squeezed in George Strait with Bobby
Nice.
because he played a Tom Petty song live.
Nice.
That was my go around. think we have a knock on the door.
Yay!
Oh, it's David. Are you working
Oh,
out?
good. No,
Are you at Planet
shower.
Fitness taking a shower?
You know
Oh, you're doing that head PE trick.
it. It's the rules of the road here.
You know, that's the funny thing that head PE had mentioned. It's like, make sure you go get a gym membership for Planet Fitness so you could take a shower on tour the whole time.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
There you
And
go.
And
then
ironically,
it's only like
Oh,
10
ironically,
That's a really good idea.
it's a big plug for Head PE today. We got
Oh,
your
wait, what?
shower process and their hat.
And we were talking about head PE earlier.
So tell us about your management and label deal. Do you still have that, or how did that come about?
No, actually, we were playing New Orleans, and John Tobar, who signed Marilyn Manson, was there. And what was interesting was we did a heavy version of "Separate Ways" by Journey, and
I love it. I
we
love
actually,
it. Okay.
so we put it out as a music video after that, but we decided just to do it for the fun of it. He was in the crowd. He despises Journey. He hates Journey so much, but he loved what we did. He's like, you guys made me love a Journey song because it's you. And so he ended up signing with us. But unfortunately, we partnered with him and another guy with their label. But John passed away last year,
Yeah.
a little over a year ago now. So we stuck with the label, but his partner who's a great guy, Sam Fisher, is a great guy, but he's plugged into the pop world. So he's worked with Lady Gaga, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So working with a band like that and then having to work with us, you're like, you don't really know what to do with us.
Yeah.
So we ended up parting ways. So right now, now we're just back to being an unsigned band and doing it ourselves. Because honestly, a record label's just a big bank loan.
Separate ways, if he never hurt you, true love won't desert you. You know I still love you, though we touched and went our separate ways.
Oh, so I saw you guys. Or I heard you guys on the Billy Madison show.
Oh
You
yeah.
released, they reviewed your World Upside Down song, which was very well received. So that was cool. And then you released your video for
Yeah, the video.
World Upside Down. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we did it simultaneously as we are on the air. Who releases their video at 9:00 in the morning? These guys. But we'd been on the Billy Madison. That was the third time we've been on there, and they had a segment where they bring bands on, and they did away with it. But we've stayed in contact with them for a long time, and they finally brought the segment back, and we were the first guest.
Every word that keeps coming out. Fabricate this.
So you guys, you're all in, like, you have multiple things going on, not just the even in depth, but you have your tribute bands, your cover bands, mixing and mastering, doing sound,
Yep.
touring. How do you kind of like balance it all?
Don't know, Monsters.
Yeah, yeah,
I know David and I drink a lot of Monsters, which we should.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's compartmentalized, right? So, I mean, thankfully, like we've all been doing this for a really, really long time. So it's not like we have to get together, every week or a couple times a week for a
Right.
rehearsal or something. So
Yeah.
we can just polish things up before a show. And I think everybody having other projects keeps everybody fresh. Like playing wise, right? You don't lose your chops because you're doing Big Bang or you're doing The Crown or Blackened or Charlie Bravo or whatever, right? Or like Living Dark Days for me. So everybody stays fresh, in terms of their playing, and then we just come together. We polish things up before a show, and we can all only be one place at one time, So it's like if there's something even in death, and then that's where everybody is, right? If it's
Yeah, and it is kind of fun to kind of get out there and do different kinds of music. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of just kind of doing the same genre.
yeah, we started the Big Bang thing, which is like an '80s tribute. We started that when they weren't playing that stuff on the radio, and it wasn't cool. And so that's the only reason I was like, okay, I'll do it. F everybody, I'll sing some Skid Row. And so, but now it's part of everybody's playlist. Everybody's got
Yep.
'80s songs. But for a while, that was very taboo. You did
Yeah.
not play 80s.
Like that's just so passe. We never listened to that. We're gonna pretend that we never listened to that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know you
Well,
listened.
too, like we like there's a lot of call it like talent sharing amongst the Even and Death
Yeah.
camp, right? Like I've got the other band Living Dark Days, which one of our guitar players will fill in for Even and Death if somebody can't make it because they've got another scheduled gig. There's offshoots of that into Korn tribute bands and
Hmm.
Kill Switch, which Sean shares the same guitar player as I'm so there's like out of like the core of Even in Death and Living Dark Days, there's probably like 10 bands
Yeah.
that
Nice.
exist.
Yeah. And it also it builds community amongst all of our bands as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I mean,
For those young bands that are probably going to be listening to this, like the network is the most important thing, right? I mean, you
Yes.
can have decent music, and if you've connected with the right people, you're going to have 100 times better chance than if
Yes.
you have killer music that everybody loves, but
Yeah.
everybody thinks you got a bad attitude as a band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Touching on that, give us some advice for like the younger generation, the new bands, new artists coming out.
For me, like from a production standpoint, what I see a lot, everybody uses, backing tracks and stuff. I know it's super controversial. Like the fact is, everybody's playing their stuff, but you can't have, a keyboardist and an orchestra and an opera or whatever these other elements are on stage with you. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because people expect to hear live what they hear on your album. The only way to do that is to have, backing tracks. But I think some of the newer bands rely so heavily upon that stuff that they skip out on the skill of their instrument.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When they put all the guitar glitchy, squeal, pitch shift, bendy stuff into their
Right.
back tracks, they're not doing it live. And I think that's, like focus on the instrument stuff first. If you're going to use
Yes.
tracks, use it to enhance the experience, not create the experience.
Oh yeah, we were playing with who was it? Nonpoint and Blackstone Cherry in
Blackstone
Waco.
Cherry, yeah.
And I ran down. I kept going off one side of the stage to go in the crowd or go in the back. But one time I ran up on the other side next to David, and I didn't realize I had tripped the cord that
Yeah.
had. So we lost everything for a second while
Yep.
while our roadies are over there trying to patch it back in. You know.
I felt so bad too. Like, so my drum tech, Jason, he normally helps set up and stuff, load in, load out. And I'm yelling at him like, I don't have any ears. Give me that pack, turn that pack on. And I'm trying to keep the beat the best that I can. And it's just kind of a mess, so he earned his keep. He earned his Lone Stars that day.
Yeah, we played. I mean, we played through the song. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, you just keep
So,
going.
I think every band has to be they have to be professional enough to be able to roll with the punches. I mean
Yeah.
that's one thing, and another thing is bands need to be courteous to other bands when you're doing changeover times because like
Yes.
we're a very well-oiled machine. We played tours, we played festivals where literally the band goes off and we have to hit our first note in 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah.
lot of 15-minute changeovers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And whether we're doing it with any ears or whether we're doing it just raw, we pull it off all the time.
Yep. But like to that courtesy point, I was actually showing this guy Cadence who fills in for drums with Tantric when their drummer he also plays with Smile Empty Soul. So when John's out with Smile Empty Soul, I think Cadence fills in, and so I was telling him about that Tantric show that we did at Fitzgerald's and how we showed up and there's like 6 bands deep worth of gear on stage. There's no room. So I sent a message over to Rocco from West Creek and I was like, hey, dude, can I use your kit? Because there's just no way we're fitting all this stuff up on here. And he's like, yeah, of course. So stuff like that can go a long way. Knowing the other bands, sharing cabs, sharing
Yeah.
gear if it's cool, like helping one another out. He's
Yeah.
played on my kit many times. Like that stuff helps keep things on time, and it goes a long way to the venues for like, okay, these guys are professional. They
Yeah.
they got their stuff together.
We do that quite often. If we're putting our own show together, a lot of times we try to slimline it and just have everybody use as much of the same equipment as possible.
Yeah.
So there you are with a pop punk band, or there you are with a, some rowdy band who's going on before us or after us, because we're always mixing up the styles, but everybody is working in unison together.
So y'all have some like endorsements and stuff too, as far as your gear. Talk a little bit about what kind of gear you like to use for all the gearheads out there.
I use a microphone.
Yeah. You got a microphone?
I got a microphone.
Maybe this question is for David then.
I got, I got,
No cable.
I
It's
got
wireless.
I got a microphone, but I have a carload full of stuff.
And endorsements, like gear endorsements are obviously very helpful. A lot of people think like, hey, I got a gear endorsement. I made it, and a lot of times it's not like that. It helps. You get a discount, but
Yeah.
anything goes a long way. So
Yeah.
if you really like something, and you're a younger band and you're going to be out there doing it, and you're good at your craft, like reach out to those companies, but focus on some of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
It's much easier to get on some smaller ones. Like Scorpion is a big brand, but they've built it around helping artists, through endorsements and stuff. So those are all good ways to
Well, you
get
know,
into that game.
something that was interesting is our friend Chris Young. He's in a band called Haywire, and they're a local cover band here. They do like 90s stuff, and he has an endorsement for his guitars. I think who's he got? Oh, he's got the Dimebag one.
Dean,
Yeah.
Dean.
So y'all have two Anthonys in the band. So do they have nicknames or?
3.
We have three, kind
You
of,
have three Anthonys now?
kind of.
James's middle name is Anthony, so you got
Oh.
Anthony Alaman, Anthony Carrillo, James Anthony Garza. All of our guitars are Anthony, so it's like George Foreman just yells at one kid and they all listen, because they're all named George. We just yell Anthony.
Well, if you look at our group chat, you look at Anthony Carrillo. He's what, leg day?
Leg day. Everybody's got nicknames in there, yeah.
Yeah, so what are the nicknames?
Well, Carrillo's is leg day because we saw him in shorts one day. David's is downtown,
Yeah, downtown.
which is
That was
actually
from the Head PE thing.
that's from the Head PE tour. We made some stupid video and
Oh God.
he was all buzzed. He's like downtown.
Yeah. And for anybody that knows Sean, there'll be no surprise that his is Selfie Sean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got
King of the
If
selfie.
everybody knows Sean, you have to slip through a wormhole and travel to a different planet to find someone who doesn't know Sean.
I know.
we were on tour and that's what their drummer nicknamed me. He's like, "What's up, Selfie Sean?" Like after a day 2.
And then, of course, one of the selfies is him with all the ladies in bikinis. So
Mhm.
Philip says you should have your own hashtag, and it should be, hashtag Sean's Life.
Oh, there is a hashtag for me, but it's not.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's not
it's
it?
not that one.
No, if you ever go to Rocklahoma, you'll hear people cheer it.
Hashtag F Sean Nations.
There's actually T-shirts that say hashtag Fuck Sean Nations, and every time I go to Rocklahoma, everybody wants.
you
So
have
this
any
year,
left?
I'm gonna get a bunch made to take to Rocklahoma because I've had so many people that want it. The good thing is, down the road, if I ever sell them online, people that hate me will buy it because they won't even realize it.
Yeah, it's for the haters and the lovers, right? It's for everyone.
Still, you tried to nail me to the cross. You can't.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, we are planning on going back out with Head P. I was talking about that earlier. As soon as they quit jumping on everybody else's tours and get back on their own tour. Could you see that they're going out? They just announced another one of those new metal things with Head PE.
Yep.
So we're supposed to do some dates with them, and then we are gonna do some. It looks like we're gonna make 2 runs to Oklahoma this year because we do have a huge fan base in there. So, none of which I can announce, but I can tell you there's 2 of them in the works. So for all of our Oklahoma friends, and what's funny is we've only played Rocklahoma once, but we go there and everybody knows us.
That's
David
awesome.
can testify.
Yeah.
We literally go there. We only have GA bands, but for some reason we're approving who's backstage. Or getting in trouble. Mostly getting in trouble.
Mostly getting in trouble.
Yeah, and so this year we'll have the podcast out there this year too, so it's gonna be kind of
cool.
fun. So, yeah, we're just doing that, working on new music, and getting ready to start doing a lot more stuff and building up Texas again.
Yes.
Cross-pollinate.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for spending time with us. I really appreciate your time and
Well, I'll do it
Yeah,
again. Thanks.
yeah, appreciate it.